What's up? Hello, friends. This is Rihanna May, aka Miss Devious, and I'm back to react for you. Do men want independent women? Okay, I feel personally attacked now. So, I have only been in really long relationships for years or single for a very long time in between. I have always been referenced as being extremely independent. I've been told I was masculine, dominant. Really, I don't think it's any of those things. I don't feel masculine. I don't feel dominant. Definitely feel like those conclusions were made because I'm extremely assertive and I'm very independent. Maybe too much pride, like I'm too prideful to really ask for help. I'd much rather just do it on my own. I'm very self-sufficient. I don't know if those things are considered masculine or if those people calling me masculine just think those are masculine qualities. So I would like to see. I think dating is rough, and oftentimes people ask me why I'm single, and I feel like there's a percentage of my independence that is to blame. Let's see what they have to say.
Not been married, the longer someone's used to being independent and by themselves, it becomes extremely difficult to now merge with another person.
Yes.
To now put your lives together for the two to become one. Then you add that to the point where you're an independent person. I like things this way. I like things that way.
I have like OCD so bad in these drawers behind me. It's ridiculous, just so you know.
And now you want a masculine, driven, ambitious man who is structured, who is focused,
and established,
who has his kingdom. Now you want him to bend to you.
No, that's not a fair statement.
Why men don't desire independent women. Because like I said, I think there's this idea that men, two things, is the belief that, oh, men want women like this. Men say they want women like this. No.
Okay, so he's going to take the approach that men don't like independent women. On level, somewhat agree, because I'm extremely independent and dating is a struggle and I don't always know why.
Don't believe the facade. They don't.
The microphone costs a lot of money.
Yeah. and the second thing is that men don't want independent, strong women because they're intimidated.
I don't think that.
And that's not the case at all. We'll talk about that a little bit later once we dive into it.
But every guy is constantly concerned with my income and what I can bring to the table. That seems to be kind of a common denominator lately.
But one of the challenges of an independent woman, this is one of the reasons why men don't want them, is
Let's
because
know.
independence is not something that you need in a long-term relationship. You actually need interdependence. The more independent a person is, the less likely they can have a long-term relationship.
I don't know if I agree with this guy on that.
So
I can't say that I fully agree, because I think that even if you're a really independent person, if you love someone or if you want something badly enough, absolutely people can change.
there was an interesting study that analyzed divorce rates by years. And most people are aware of the first truth, which is the younger you get married, the higher the divorce rates.
Right.
So late teens, early 20s, the divorce rates are relatively high. And what is the reasoning, Chris, why divorce rates are high during that time? Immaturity. A lot of times people are not ready, instability, all these things. That's why the divorce rates aren't high. So what happens is divorce rates are high, and then all of a sudden it goes down as people get older into their mid-20s, mid to late 20s, right? And most people think what's going to happen is in the 30s, it's going to go down, 40s, it's going to go down, da-da-da-da-da.
Well, actually, everywhere divorce rates are high for every age group right now, anyway.
No. What happens is then after the late 20s, early 30s, it goes back up. And the problems that are true, the divorce rates that are high in your early 20s are also high in your 30s Because what they find is that the longer someone has not been married, the longer someone's used to being independent and by themselves, it becomes extremely difficult to now merge with another person.
That is true.
To now put your lives together for the two to become one. Then you add that to the point where...
But I do have OCD and I'm super crazy and set in my ways and like my house a certain way. However, I am such a hopeless romantic in love. I would love to spoil my man. I would love to integrate him into my life and even compromise and make changes to accommodate his needs as well.
You're an independent person. I like things this way. I like things that way. And now you want a masculine, driven, ambitious man who is structured, who is focused, who has his kingdom. Now you want him to bend to you. And so what they realize is that at a certain age, those marriages are just unstable at the early 20s. So that's something that people don't talk about.
I want a man that makes me want to bend to him.
That being independent is actually the wrong skill if you want to create a long-term relationship.
I don't think that's right either.
Man, I hope they heard that, bro. I hope they heard that. Because if you don't have the ability to compromise...
So what's the alternative? To be codependent? It's a positive thing to be codependent then?
And to practice sacrificial love, then yeah, your relationship, marriage would not last.
Tell the story about that girl that you went to her party.
Yeah. So yeah, it was this girl. You know, she was attractive. Come on now, it's me. Yeah, I went over there, and you know, it was her world. You know, and I walked in, and I could see everything was organized, everything was neat, and you know, it was just her space, and I would begin to ask her questions. She didn't know she was on the hot seat, but you know, because I got spidey tinklings of single. You know, when we've been on tour and stuff, we can see things. So I'm just like, okay, so you know, like how is it living by yourself? How have you ever had roommates before? Okay, I never have a roommate. I can never have. What's wrong with having a roommate? You know, I don't like people around my things. I don't like people touching these things. I have my life, my way, my order, all these things. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, all right. So what about your siblings? How you get along with your parents and things like that? Well, you know, I kind of like my own space. And I always want to be controlled. And, you know, sometimes, and look, side note, I think she said this. I could be wrong, but I think she said this, that her mother practiced so much independence that they had separate rooms from her father. Her mother and her father did not sleep in the same room.
So I'm really independent and feel all those ways too, but I would love to change my mind for my boyfriend or my husband. So even though I'm an extremely independent woman, is it possible for me to still be feminine and compromising and supportive to a masculine male figure?
Together. So you take that, practice, put that into, you know, a daughter. I get there. I'm sitting there like, man, this is her world. Yeah. And I remember.
But what else is it supposed to be when she lives alone?
I remember her telling me, like, I was like, so what's one of your biggest fears? And she was saying, like, when I find a guy that we would just become roommates because, you know, I feel like I just only would want his company because I don't need him from anything else. Yeah. So sex drive wasn't high, you know, didn't desire to be touched, to be intimate, you know, those things. I just want an attractive guy there and talk to him when I want to.
Well, what about his needs and also keeping him entertained and interested and keep him excited and spicy? I think all of those things are just as important for both parties. Yeah.
And I felt that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying we got in bed and we're like, you know, you follow me. I'm just saying we were there, please. Okay, calm down. And I was like, this girl, she literally is going to be on her phone this entire time. I was like, I'm going to just see how long it's going to take for her to start a conversation. Hour goes by, nothing's happened. I'm just like, this is exactly what she wants. This is exactly what she desires out of a man. I had to come up with an excuse to leave. I was like, you know what, man, it's getting kind of late because, you know what I mean, I think it's time for me. Never saw her again. Yeah.
But But I think those also have to do with personality traits and not necessarily independent traits. Like, that girl would be that way regardless, not if she was independent, codependent, or dependent, you know?
Oh yeah, those women like that create that lifestyle, and that high value, that desirable guy that they want to conform to that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, this is my independent self. This is my true self. You know, I am not going to come together and compromise anything.
Yeah, and there's this really popular quote that men always say, and Chris, you can finish the line.
Here we go.
And it's about women, and men say, can't live with them.
Can't live without them.
The reality of the matter is, men understand, not that they want women, they need them. Every guy knows that. It's a headache, it's trauma, but we can't live without them. We need them. And then you have so many women today that say, I don't need a man.
Oh, and I hate that. I hate that women say that. I do.
I don't need no man, I don't need no man, I don't need no man, I don't need no man. That's what they say. So think about the differences between the men who are like, we can't live with him, can't live without him, we need him. And the women who say, we don't need no man. Now, how can Miss I don't need no man, not even I don't need a man. How can now she create an interdependent relationship?
I mean, if you want to get scientific and technical, no person needs anything other than air, water, and food. However, studies show that there have been animals who actually died from loneliness. Take it in perspective.
Impossible.
And so that is something in which a lot of girls, I was talking to this one girl, we're having a conversation about it, and she literally broke down in tears. And she said, I ruined my past relationship because she didn't have any ability to create a healthy interdependent relationship with a man. And so, like I keep on going back to, what hurts me the most is what they want, and how for so many of these girls, they're so far away from what they want.
Maybe independent women want you to take the wheel. We want you to be the man or be masculine or dominant or whatever, but only if we trust you. You get what I'm saying? Like, I want to submit to you, but only if I can trust that you're going to make the best decision for my best interest also, and make sure that we're good.
And now they're in their late 30s, mid 30s, and they're just like, oh my gosh, where are the guys? And the reality of the matter, going back to another point, is that though some women get bad information, others get good information. And the ones that get good information, they're doing both. They're going to college, they're getting jobs, they're, taking care of themselves, but they're also making men a priority because they need men.
So I kind of said this, I don't think that anybody needs anything or anyone. I don't think there's such thing as simping for your partner. If you're in love with this person and both of you have made a conscious choice to try to make this work.
And they're the ones who are marrying these guys. So what's going to happen is the guys that going back to that story you shared, all those guys that were knocking your door down in your 20s, by the time in your 30s, a lot of these guys are off the market, especially the marriage-minded ones.
Yeah.
See, that's what girls understand. There's multiple guys. They're the marriage-minded one. They're the fun guys. They're the guys who just like to, long-term girlfriends. The marriage-minded ones get snatched up pretty early. There's women who get married today.
Yeah.
And they're getting snatched up. And so what ends up happening is so many of these women are now struggling, and then in some weird sabotaging nature, they're giving that same advice that caused them to struggle to the younger girls.
Yeah.
That is
They're
true.
posting on social media, on Instagram and all these apps, how happy they are, how, oh my gosh, self-love, I love me, but they're not happy. They're calling me in tears, but they're posting these pictures on social media showing a facade of a life that they're not really satisfied with.
That's a great point you made, bro. I think that whole social media is literally just fake.
That was Do Men Want Independent Women? I think I was like 50-50 split on agreement with this. I can say that there is a lot on social media and in general of this real men do this and real women do that. And like, ultimately, every single human is different with their needs and their wants. And really, there is no set rule or standard. It's not about if you're overly independent. It's not about if you're submissive, if you're dominant. It's not about any of those things. It's about finding the person that makes you want to accommodate the other person's needs. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
You got me going crazy. And maybe we should take this further daily.